What is the best material for body piercing jewelry? Maybe you're buying new ones, or maybe you're thinking about getting pierced. What should you look for when it comes to picking out jewelry as far as what it's made out of? Coming up next on Body Piercing Basics, episode number 95. So, stick around. For those who are new to the channel, my name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I own and operate the Axiom Body Piercing Studio located here in Des Moines, Iowa, inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo. So when I talk to you about these things, I'm talking to you with a level of expertise that comes from being in the body piercing industry for well over 26 years. Welcome to the first episode of Body Piercing Basics for 2021. Took a kind of a 2-week break there because of the holidays. Glad to be back and at it. So what are we going to talk about today is jewelry material, what you should look for, what you should consider, etc., and what types I'd suggest. It's a really common question that I get asked in the comments all the time, so let's cover some of that. Today what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what we consider when it comes to picking materials for jewelry, what's the most biocompatible, and what I would really suggest avoiding. So let's start out with what do we consider. The first thing is do we have third-party certification that is biocompatible material? Meaning, has there been any type of third-party testing to verify that the alloy or material that it's made out of is actually pure enough or of a higher grade to be considered compatible inside the body for a long period of time? Yes, there's a lot of products out there that you can put in the body. There's a lot of products out there material-wise that may do okay in the body, but especially if you have any type of sensitivities to metal, you want to avoid a lot of those materials. And even though the packaging may say something that sounds safe, like surgical stainless steel or titanium or gold or what have you, or everybody's favorite made-up marketing term, hyperallergenic. And this is especially true of materials that are alloys, and those include titanium, gold, surgical stainless steel. All of those things have different components of them that make the material. They are not a pure element. Yes, gold is an element. Yes, titanium is an element. But if you did 100% titanium or 100% gold, it's not only going to be very expensive, but it's also going to have issues with durability and etc. So, and practicality. So it's very important that you have that certification, either from the manufacturer or someone else, a mill certificate that states, yes, it is biocompatible. Yes, it has hit this level that we want, that it's going to be safe to have in the body for a long period of time. Now, let's talk about the next one. Number 2, durability. Durability is very important because it's going to be in your body for a long period of time. Scratches, dents, wearing down the finish, wearing down pieces of the material can cause issues even in a healed piercing. You want to make sure that it's durable enough, it is going to last in the body and do well with the amount of pressure the body is going to put that material under, and also when it comes in contact with other things. Like, for example, if you have your ears pierced and there's a piece of jewelry there and you wear helmets, or it gets, has contact with hats and etc., that is going to cause some wearing. So we need something that's durable enough that's not going to easily get scratched or damaged. Number 3, the compatibility to create a high or hard finish. This is very important, of course, with metal jewelry. Glass, maybe not so much so, because it already has kind of its own finish. Natural materials or organic materials is going to be important. You need something that you can polish up to the point where it is strong enough that it's going to withstand in abuse, like we talked about durability, but also to isolate the components of that material, of that alloy. We want to make sure that we isolate that with a finish. This can be very important, especially when it comes to implant grade surgical stainless steel and other products where if you have any type of metal in it, sensitivity, some of those components or parts of the alloy leaking out into and having contact with your skin could be an issue. The last one, number 4, is that it's made of a solid material. Now, when I talk about solid material, I'm saying it's not plated, filled, or part this or part that. It is 100% that material. Like, for example, if it's pure titanium or solid titanium, basically it's a solid titanium alloy that is biocompatible. If it is surgical stainless steel or God knows what plated with titanium, that's not the same thing. Chances are you're going to wear off that plating, and whatever is underneath there is going to be what comes in contact with your skin and the piercing and can cause issues if you're sensitive to materials. Now, let's go through what I consider the most biocompatible to the least biocompatible, as far as what I would suggest as far as materials and etc., especially if you have any type of allergies to any type of metals or etc. Number 1, I'm going to say glass. Glass tends to have no metal in it. There's no worry about nickel allergies or any other problem. It is very durable. It has a very smooth, solid finish and can be used in fresh jewelry or as retainers if need be. The second one would be niobium. And the reason why I mention niobium next is because niobium is a pure element. The only way you can be allergic to niobium is if, in fact, you're allergic to niobium. There is no alloy involved. There's no additional things. With niobium, the only thing you really have to be concerned about is that it's pure niobium. Niobium is great, just like titanium, because it can be anodized into a lot of different colors, and you can change the color. And it is the one material that does come in black. Number 3, titanium. ASTM F136 is what you're going to look for. And the reason being is titanium alloys, there's a ton of them. There's everything from what they use on motorcycles, cars, etc., to what they use to make those rings, to biocompatible titanium that's implant grade. There's a huge difference. So you need to very much be important, or it's very important that you do find something that is of a biocompatible level or implant grade level. This material also lends itself to anodizing in different colors, though you cannot get black titanium. Sorry, it doesn't exist. Usually when you see that black jewelry and they say titanium, it's usually a plastic coating or some type of plating that's over or dye or etc. over the actual material, and that is probably not biocompatible. That moves us on to gold. And I'm going to break gold up into basically 3 main types. The first one, and probably the most biocompatible of all gold that you're going to find in the body piercing industry, is 18 karat gold. Of course, with gold, the higher the carat weight, the more gold you have, and the less alloys. Usually when you get above 14 karat and into 18 karat, there is a very, very slim chance that you're ever going to see anything that you're going to have a reaction to, such as nickel. If you get under that carat weight of 14 karat, which is going to be the next most biocompatible, you're going to see more trace elements. So 18 karat, less other materials in the alloy, is going to be the safest of the gold and least likely to cause you issues. Next up would be 14 karat. Once again, 14 karat rarely contains trace or parts of the alloy that you need to be concerned about, mainly nickel. Anything above 14 karat is usually not going to have that, except with the case with number 6, and that would be colored gold. Colored gold is non-yellow gold. Basically, they add other things in there to get that different color, to get your rose gold, to get your white gold, etc. You want to be very cautious with this because sometimes with white gold, they use nickel. Sometimes with rose gold or Black Hills gold, etc., there's a lot of copper in it. You can have reactions to either of those metals and materials, so I generally suggest avoiding colored metal or colored gold if you have any type of sensitivity to metal. Number 7, probably the workhorse and the most common type of jewelry that you're going to find out there, which is implant grade surgical stainless steel. There are various different levels of surgical stainless steel out there. Basically, all surgical stainless steel, that term means is that it is made of a formula of 316L or LVM. It does not say that it's a pure material. It does not state that. That number does not state how pure it is or whether or not it's implant grade or what grade level it is at. Yes, implant grade steel in case is going to be at a higher level with less amount of likelihood of nickel or other trace elements being in it. However, you have to understand that even implant grade stainless surgical steel generally has nickel in it. If you're allergic to nickel, you should probably avoid it. That said, I've had a number of people that I've pierced over the years that claim they were up and down, that they were allergic to nickel. They've been told by a doctor they were allergic to nickel, that have had absolutely no problem with implant grade surgical stainless steel. It is a cheap material. It is readily available and easy to polish. You can have a very, very good finish on it, mirror-like, and it is very durable. So it's kind of a trade-off. If you don't have any metal allergies, and you just want to save a few bucks and you like that look of the silver, generally what I'm going to suggest is implant grade steel. And with that, you want to look for that ASTM number of F136 because that certifies that it's implant grade, not just some of that garbage that's used for motorcycle spokes and other various equipment. Number 8, organic materials. Now, this would be your bones, your horns, antler, hardwoods, stone, etc., etc., etc. This stuff I put so far down the list mainly for one reason. If you're allergic to any of those materials, you're going to be allergic to it. And a lot of times you don't know that until you actually wear it. So it should always be worn cautiously, and I really don't suggest piercing with any organic materials. You need to do it with something that's a little bit more durable and more consistent and has that third-party testing that verifies that it is biocompatible. Also, a lot of organic materials do not handle the autoclave very well. You can really damage some of it, so it's really hard to sterilize that jewelry initially for a piercing. Hardwoods, etc., and organic materials are great for long-term wear and piercings that are well healed. They have their own little problems, so they take a little bit more maintenance, but they're not something you want to pierce with, in my opinion. Now it moves us on to the newest one on this whole list, and that's silicone. Silicone, technically, it's considered 28-day compatible if you get the right silicone. There really hasn't been enough research done, in my opinion, to suggest it for fresh piercings. It tends to expand on its own, and it has a tendency to seal the tissue or herd to tissue or just connect to it, and then you have problems with blowouts and etc. To be honest with you, I just don't know enough about silicone to really highly suggest it, but I do know you don't want to put it in a fresh piercing, in my opinion. Number 10, the last material I would suggest if you have any type of metal allergies or anything, and that's acrylic, plastic, or bioplastic, or whatever name brand they want to attach to it. All of this stuff is generally not certified as biocompatible. You have no idea what's in it. It's very inexpensive. It scratches easily. It is not jewelry you want to put in a fresh piercing. It is not jewelry that you want to wear for a long period of time. The only time I would suggest wearing anything made of acrylic is if you have a situation where you need to go in for surgery and you need to remove the jewelry and have something that's non-conductive. Before that, I would suggest that you put glass in long before you put this stuff in. But, yeah, it's an alternative there. But it really only works as a retainer. Putting it in the body for long periods of time is asking for possible issues. Now let's talk about materials to avoid and things to avoid. Number 1, silver or sterling. I don't understand why people think this is a good material for piercing. I know a lot of you may have worn it in your ears and never had any problems or think you never had any problems, but it is not a good material to pierce with initially, and it's not a good material to wear in a piercing long term. It's too soft, it tarnishes, it can deteriorate, corrode, and in areas of the body where it's a mucous membrane or your body can absorb the material or figures out a way to absorb the material, silver tends to leak out silver salts. Your body absorbs it. It can lead to silver poisoning, which is a permanent darkening or tattooing of the area around the piercing. If you ever see anybody and they have like this black mark around a piercing, that's from that. It's sometimes greenish, sometimes brownish, but it's not, and bluish, but it's not attractive, and it doesn't go away unless you have it surgically cut out. Second, I've already kind of talked about this, so I won't go into it anymore, is plastic. I suggest avoiding plastic, especially in a healing piercing. Do not pierce with plastic. Number 3 would be plated materials. I already talked about this. Usually what your body will do is work off that outer plating, and you will be exposed to whatever is under it. Plated jewelry tends to point to a very inexpensive and cheap material, a cheap piece of jewelry. So generally speaking, usually whatever's underneath there is not of the highest quality and probably not something you want to have in a piercing, especially a fresh piercing. Number 4 is filled. This takes into question whether or not that material is actually what they say it is. Gold filled, etc. Usually such a low quality, you're going to have issues with it. And lastly, would be anything made of gold that has a carat weight less than 14 is going to be a problem, especially if you're allergic to nickel. So that's all I have to say about that today. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it, because we like it when you like it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every single time I post something. If you have a question, please leave a comment. I generally answer them when I have time, and I'm happy to do so. If you like tattoos and piercings, and you also like t-shirts, who doesn't? Check out our merch store. Link is in the description. Lots of different designs there to choose from. So it's one of those merch bars below, so you can kind of take a preview. Till next time, here's hoping all your piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see you for your body piercing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for watching. Enjoy yourself, and welcome to the new year. Hope it's a great year for all of us. See you next time.